for joining us on what was not your typical day in the United States. Today, students in Florida, Miami, you can see them all there in Chicago, Iowa, I believe, participated, Maryland, and as far as way as Washington, D.C., all over the country, students walked out of class on the day after the Florida State House refused to even debate a bill to ban assault weapons and large-capacity ammunition magazines. Students walked out in protest, which it's great to see young Americans acting with conviction. If any good came out of this shooting, this is it. Our young people are waking up. There have been so many courageous and passionate and well-spoken students, many of whom were in the school and survived the attack, speaking out, demanding that something be done. You've seen them on the news. They're impressive kids. These are kids who should be applauded. Even if you don't agree with them, they should be applauded. But unfortunately, there are some who not only aren't they supporting these children who just lived through a nightmare they'll never forget, there are some who are attacking them, who call them fake news, who call them fake students. They say they're crisis actors, the actors who orchestrate tragic events in order to advance some kind of liberal agenda. They're attacking them on Twitter. This kid, David Hogg, who's a student at the high school, he's being attacked. His father, who's an FBI agent, is being attacked by these conspiracy theorists who say he was coached or faking it or trying to cover for the FBI or whatever. And, you know, yes, there are always crackpots in situations like this who come out of the woodwork with these irrational, this paranoia-fueled nonsense. It happened after Sandy Hook, too. It happens a lot. The far-right wing thrives on conspiracy theories. Global warming is a conspiracy. The Russia investigation is a conspiracy. Obama's birth certificate was a conspiracy. And those are just the big ones. There are 100 others. There's Pizzagate, Scalia's murder, the 3 million illegal voters. But in this case, we have known people like Donald Trump Jr., the president's least favorite son, perpetuating this kind of stuff. You can see here, Donald Trump Jr. took time to like 2 of the stories that attacked this kid and his father. This is our president's son doing that, liking a story that directly defames a student that survived a shooting. Ted Nugent, you remember Ted Nugent, that pair of camouflage cargo shorts that came to life? Well, Ted Nugent, who is a member of the board of the NRA, shared this article on Facebook. It's all theater. The kid who just watched his friends die is a puppet, according to Ted, and it's a puppet show. Is that okay? Should the person who actively spreads this garbage around be a member of your board if you are a reputable organization? I don't think so, but I want you to consider this, especially if you are a Trump supporter or a member of the NRA. Do you really think these kids, these teenagers who spoke out after a shooting at their school are actors who are part of some kind of deep state left-wing conspiracy? If the answer is yes, I do believe that, I have some bad news for you. You're crazy. You're a crazy person. Your brain is not functioning. And I'm worried about you. But here's the thing. If you aren't crazy, which most of you aren't, and you agree that accusing teenagers of being part of some sort of diabolical underground government scheme is nuts, you can't just sit there and let these scumbags spread these lies about these kids. And this is part of what happens when you call everything fake news. Now, there's nothing fake about the fact that the Russians tried to interfere with our election. Special counsel Robert Mueller indicted 13 of them on Friday, and one of their tactics was they would create these fake social media groups to try to recruit American Trump supporters. And of course, these people, these Americans, were totally unaware they were being manipulated by Russians. But here's the thing. Now that they are aware, it doesn't make a difference. They still don't believe it because everything that isn't Fox News is fake news. So this is how a woman in Broward County reacted to the news that the political group she became part of, a group called Being Patriotic, that recruited her to participate in a pro-Trump flash mob, was actually a group of Russian trolls.
You guys were involved with Being Patriotic, right?
Very, very patriotic, but not...
Being Patriotic was the group that contacted and helped organize some of these activities that you posted on your own Facebook account.
Those were legitimate.
Those were Russians.
They were not Russians. I don't go with the Russians.
Yes, you do. You went with the Russians. You went with the Russians. You just... Maybe for the better, you're just too dopey to know it.
BS. And please report that. I don't believe that. That's bull. I know all the people that were with me, okay? They were at my meetings. They're all Trump supporters, okay?
But did you realize that you guys were in communication electronically with
Not
Russians?
not me. I don't know.
You were posting stuff on the Facebook.
Hillary Clinton was, and so was all her bandits.
Bandits. Oh, Mr. President, there she is. Your next White House chief of staff has been... By the way, now that President Trump has been forced to admit that the Russians did meddle in the election, you want to guess who he blames for it? Well, let's see what he tweeted today. Question, if all of the Russian meddling took place during the Obama administration right up to January 20th, why aren't they the subject of the investigation? Why didn't Obama do something about the meddling? Why aren't Dem crimes under investigation? Ask Jeff Sessions. So now Trump is complaining that his own attorney general isn't doing enough to look into why Obama didn't do enough to stop this thing he isn't convinced happened in the first place. This afternoon, the president held what he called a listening session. He brought parents of students who were victims of school shootings to the White House to hear their thoughts. One of the parents suggested arming teachers or cafeteria workers or custodians, which was an idea Trump seemed to like, even though in 2016, it wasn't an idea Trump seemed to like. In fact, he tweeted, "Crooked Hillary says that I want guns brought into the school classroom. Wrong." And it's so unlike him to flip-flop like that. But this idea of arming teachers, could you imagine if teachers are allowed to bring guns to school and not peanut butter? I mean, what's going on here? Trump also showed up to his meeting with all the parents with a note card, and a photographer got a shot of his notes and zoomed in. This is real. You can see someone wrote 5 things for him to say. Number 1 is, what would you most want me to know about your experience? Numbers 2 through 4 are covered by his tiny fingers. But number 5 is, I hear you. And we know Trump didn't write that himself because he spelled the word hear correctly. But a quick way to know you're not a good listener is if you need a note to tell you to listen at a listening session.